happen on the comic book planet. Everything that happens on the comic book planet. So let's start the show!
No, we have a treat for you all. Because it's Sunday night, comic book canon, but that's what I'm talking about. When I get time, Joe, I'm going to be putting together the all-new comic book canon intro with an all-new song.
I've heard it. I've heard it. I heard the leaked version.
The leaked version. That's legal. Actually had to rein it back in, had to sue some people before we could actually get it out and about, but it's going to happen. But yeah, I'm back. And obviously you all are very happy about that because I was out. I was in an insane work project, which was actually a lot of fun in Arizona, Joseph, in California. Did a lot of cool things with a lot of cool people. And yeah, it was great. So by the way, I'm going to try and get our background to play. Not that you can see me that well, but don't like the commercials either. It's like private. Why do they show commercials on that channel? I don't understand it. But Joe, how has your week been? I know you're getting over an illness and you've had an insane time at work as well.
I have, yeah. Anyone who watched the show last week is definitely no stranger to the fact that I was super sick. My voice during the whole show was just like trying to give out on me, but I pulled through. I had a crazy work week, culmination of a couple months of putting a project together that went off amazing, absolutely amazing. It required me to get up at 4:45 in the morning on Monday and Tuesday, which was not fun. But we're back. We're healthy. Go Birds.
Go Birds. What a game, Joe. I can't believe I didn't talk to you about that. Holy cow. That was too close. But we won 7-2.
It was interesting. Going into the first half, it was like, it's 16-0.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about that in our Philly podcast. You all should follow our Philadelphia Eagles podcast. You all should follow, as you know very well. That's not true. I want to do something real quick, though, before we get into the news, because we have our episode issue of the week. We are at episode 202, which corresponds to featured episode issue, The Incredible Hulk. Number 202 as well. This was picked by Dan De La Torre, and we're going to bring him in a hot second before or after I give you the little synopsis of what Hulk 202 was. Hulk, trapped in an otherworldly realm, faces off against Crypto Man, a powerful robot controlled by a vengeful scientist. Their destructive battle highlights Hulk's unrestrained rage in his ongoing struggle to find peace despite being seen as a monster. Let's bring Dan in because he was the one that suggested this. Dan, tell us real quick.
Okay, when I first started collecting, issue 197 was my first book, and then this came up very shortly afterwards. And this is when I first started buying back issues, because this issue here referred to Jarella, who I'd never heard of before. And so I bought issues 140 and 156, and the guy that I got it from at school through a friend said, "This guy knows what he's doing." I was very complimented and all that. But that was a great story with Jarella. That is the Hulk's love interest. She actually, spoiler alert, she dies a couple issues later.
Oh,
but anyway,
man.
This led to the original storyline in Hulk 140 was a Roy Thomas and Harlan Ellison creation. Harlan Ellison, one of the great late science fiction writers. Brilliant writer, kind of off as most brilliant people are. But man, that got my attention, and that led to that issue there. I was hoping in the latest Ant-Man issue latest movie rather, that would be referred to because that was a dynamite story. It still is to this day. But anyway, that was sentimental to me, and I wanted to take advantage and bring that one forward. Issue 203 was another great one too to keep an eye on. We won't profile that next week, but. Thanks, guys, for letting me bring that up. That was a great childhood memory.
It's your show, too, man. It's your show, too. Thank you for bringing that one up. As we do each and every week, we have episode issues that we decide upon very last minute. So, Dan, again, thank you. We'll see you in a bit. All right. But before we get to Dan, we are going to get to the news, and there's quite a bit of news. So we have to bring our news editor of the canon, who falls under editor-in-chief, Joe, who also is our chief HRO or CHRO, chief human resources officer, also head of marketing. Oh, it's a lot of stuff. Josh, please.
Come on.
Yeah. Boom. Okay, there you go. There you go, Josh. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
We're good. Again, Joe and I are getting over insane work weeks, and I was not sick, but Joe was. So I'm glad to see he looks very healthy. You look healthy as well. Still broadcasting from your cell phone, but that, it's the way things are sometimes. The Canon's IT department took a 2-week vacation. You know what I mean? And they can't get you those brand new computers to start broadcasting from. But
Hey,
it
what
doesn't
make
stop
you
you.
do?
Doesn't stop you from performing your job as the news editor of the Canon. So let's get right into it because there's a lot of news.
Yes, let's jump into it. Let's get into some MCU news. Starting off with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will be premiering on Disney Plus on January 29th, 2025. It is a prequel or the early days of Peter Parker in the MCU. It's also noting that there will be a prequel comic of the origin of the Spider-Man released on December 11th, and it is a 5-issue limited series, and it'll be interesting to see how this ties into the MCU, because supposedly Spider-Man and Daredevil have met. There's going to be some characters that are important to Spider-Man that haven't even appeared in the MCU yet, or haven't even been named. So, yeah. And the animation, I mean, looks just like, it looks a little bit different from What If, I think. But, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
No, definitely. I do. From what I've been reading, this is a different universe than the 6160. Or is it? Wait, actually, that's the Ultimate. But it's a different universe than the MCU. Spider-Man, or is it? I'm getting a lot of conflicting reports on this.
Right.
You're the main reporter here, and but I don't know what to make of it, but I am excited to watch it. Joe.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man to me. Obviously he goes real hard. He's one of the, probably the most popular Marvel character, arguably the most popular comic book character. Him and Batman kind of go head to head on that one. But when it comes down to it, he's a street level character. He gets pulled into the cosmic stuff and the global stuff and, the high level, Avengers and everything like that, and goes to space a bunch and even has cosmic powers for a while. But he realistically is a street level character, and always has been. So this is going to be a good opportunity to kind of see not just that street level, but kind of the origins, the growing pains of being, a teenager thrust into this new, newfound power, newfound responsibility, and just how to navigate that as a teenager with teenager problems. That's the thing that has always made Spider-Man such a relatable character and what has propelled him to being so popular. So I'm excited for this. I mean, there have been a slew of Spider-Man animated shows, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s, and they've all been good. So even Spidey, not Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends from the 80s. I think it's Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is like a little kid one now. I watched a bunch of episodes of that, and it is like, despite being for 5-year-olds, it's comic book accurate and interesting and fun to watch. My friend's daughter actually is so obsessed with it now that she just asked to have a Spidey themed party. So hopefully I'm going to be able to help out with that. It's going to be her 3rd birthday.
And
yeah, look at that. There we go.
They have toys. Right, so my daughter was into it, but now she's not into superheroes, she says, which is kind of hurts the heart. But, she's 8. It goes back and forth. But she has all the Miles, the Peter Parker from this specific show. So very fun. Very fun indeed. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it. January 29th, we're getting the good stuff, guys. We're also, I don't want to get off topic too much, but, Creature Commandos is coming out next month in December. That is the start of the DCU officially. It's not Superman, it's Creature Commandos. So it's exciting times yet again, and it's hard to keep up because we have more stories you have to stay on top of being the news editor of the Canon. Go for it, Joshua.
So we got some interesting. Well, not interesting news, but I guess we got some teasers for some shows that are coming out next year. A show that I'm looking forward to, and I thought the teaser looked great. Ironheart will be premiering on June 24th, 2025 on Disney Plus. We got like a 20-second teaser trailer for it. I'm hearing that later this week is uh, Disney's like they're doing a fan expo in Brazil, I believe, for Disney, and they're going to be releasing possibly a full trailer for Ironheart, Daredevil, and Wonder Man. And yeah, I'm not too looking forward to this. I like the trailer, and it'll be interesting to see how faithful they stay to the comics of Ironheart and see what kind of a role she will play going forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, the character to me fell really flat in. Well, I don't even remember what it was. Black Panther 2. Fell super flat, and I think part of the problem was she wasn't a popular character already. Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, immensely popular character for comic book readers, and that translated well to the screen. Ironheart, I don't know anyone that like would go out and buy an Ironheart shirt or. And it wasn't like, people didn't do that before. People certainly weren't going out and buying her books and her merch and stuff after. In fact, her first appearance is like a $20 book now. That being said, the trailer, the teaser that we got did make me much more excited than I have ever been about this character. I'm not all in on it yet, but it's definitely something I'm going to watch. I watch all the content. We want the content to do well. We're rooting for it. I wouldn't say I have high hopes for it, but I have hopes now. Whereas at first I was like, "Oh man, this is not gonna be good."
I mean, if you look at the Black Panther sequel, her character did not play an integral part. Like, she was part of the storyline, kind of just tagged along, and they just added her. It didn't weigh the film down, but if you think about it, you really don't need her as part of the story. There are ways to get around that. Maybe she's saved somebody.
If you cut her out of the film, you wouldn't miss anything.
Exactly. I want this character to do great. I love the idea of this character. I love her in the comic books. And by the way, this is the first time she appears in the Ironheart suit. It's issue 3 of Invincible Iron Man, her run. But I want her to do well. I think the trailer looks great. And I have hopes for it. I do have high hopes for it. The bar isn't super high based off of what we saw from Black Panther, but I really want to see her succeed. So I'll be watching for sure. But her debut in Black Panther really didn't move the needle on that character, I don't think, for anybody. So tell us if you guys disagree. Would love to hear your opinion on that in the comments. But I think we're all aligned on that part. I'll tell you somebody who did leave a great impression the first time they entered the screen. That screen, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago? I don't know. Josh, take it away, please.
9, I think.
Let me tell you something. Even through the leaked trailers, I was saying this, and when they finally released a good version, and I cannot wait for the show, man. So Daredevil, Born Again, we finally got a teaser trailer, and this thing is looking phenomenal. I'm hearing, even behind the scenes, I'm hearing great stuff about the show. It's going to be even darker and grittier than the Netflix show.
Crazy.
And it really is a continuation, too, of the Netflix show. And I just been loving and wanting this for a long time. They did a course correction. Daredevil was going to be a different show. It was going to be like a reboot, but they decided, hey, let's give the fans what they want. They scrapped a lot of the writers and directors, started back over, refilmed a lot of it. And so I can't wait. The trailer got me so hyped. Like, it made me want to go out and buy Daredevil books.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's just how hyped I am for the show. So
it is an action-packed kind of teaser that they put in. By the way, what we're talking about here, Marvel released what's upcoming within the next year. I don't know how you want to, it's a sizzle reel, they would say in the industry. They put together a sizzle reel of highlights of the upcoming shows that we're going to see, and we're talking all of them. We should have probably put a slate together as to what that is. but it looks fantastic. And there are some amazing stunts, amazing fight scenes that last probably 2 seconds, a second long, that you're just, I'm hooked. I cannot wait for this. Speaking of, we can't wait for this. You didn't say when it would be, Joshua.
Well, we talked about it last week's show,
Which I wasn't
but
there,
I believe
so it didn't happen then.
Oh, my bad. That was me and Joe then. I got talking about it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is in March 4th, I think, dropping on Disney Plus.
Something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, March.
Yeah, chat's up me on that.
Oh, snap. I thought it was in the news. My bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's March. It's March. You're right. You are right.
Okay.
It is March.
But I mean, we're only 4 months away. Think like
6. I would say
five.
6-ish.
5.
5.
Yeah,
Anyway.
about 5.
But I know, Joe, you're excited for this as well.
Yeah, and I noticed something the other day because I was flipping through a Daredevil book, an old one that I like hadn't read, some random like Bronze Age issue or Copper, and I was reading a little bit, and Kingpin was in the issue, and as I was reading it, I noticed that I was hearing D'Onofrio's voice as Kingpin, which when you're reading a book, like it's reading Batman, I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 people are hearing Kevin Conroy's voice. But the fact that D'Onofrio has really, put in the work on that character and really become that character so much that he is, has already reprised the role, is going to continue to play in the role. And that character, that voice is the voice that I hear when I read, one of my favorite characters. That's a good sign.
It's definitive is what that does. And before we move on to the next piece of news here, I just have actually Spuds is making some news as well. Noticing that my eyes match my hat. Thank you so much. My mom would be very happy if she was watching.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! She'd be very happy with that compliment. Really appreciate that. All right, moving on from the MCU to where are we going, Josh?
Well, we're going to jump into some DC news and hold on because it's a lot to pack in. And let's start off with Garrett Dillahunt, I believe is his last name, from Fear the Walking Dead, has been tapped for a major recurring role in Lanterns. Tried looking up supposedly who he's going to play, and it looks like he's going to be an original character. And I'm excited for this. He's actually, if I understand right, he's going to be like a modern day cowboy, which is pretty much what he was playing as in Fear the Walking Dead. He was a, Southern country cowboy. And so we have some great casting news. It sounds like Green Lantern is starting to fill off the cast. Obviously, with filming.
By the way, that guy looks like he could have played Hal. Like, seriously, look at him.
Sure, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, for sure. But there's more casting news for Lanterns, which I'm very excited for as well.
Yeah, so Kelly McDonald has also joined the cast as Sheriff Kelly in Green Lantern. Now, her character is described as a no-nonsense woman who's deeply developed to her family and her town. Her resistance is shaped by a complex past that's hardened her resolve, anchors her with the community's secrets beginning to surface. Now, obviously, this sounds like a original character as well, or I'm thinking it could be a false identity. It'll be interesting. I think she's going to probably end up being obviously the love interest for Hal, but we know his original love interest is Carol. Could it be some kind of, is it like a cover up? Maybe she's already in her alter ego. I believe she becomes Starfire.
No, not Starfire.
Yeah.
Star Sapphire.
Is that it?
Star Sapphire.
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe she's already introduced as that, and that's her cover or something. So we'll see. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I had to look up who she was. She's only been in a couple things that I've seen, but she has a lot of acting credits, a lot of popular movies and stuff like that. Most notably, the kind of most notable role, she plays the princess in Brave, She does the voice, which
Oh wow.
obviously that's a voice role, but nonetheless, that is a phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it, if you're a little behind on the Disney stuff, I advise you see it. Cool. I mean, like I said, she gets a lot of acting credits under her belt. So let's see what she's got.
And that's what it is. James Gunn compiling people with that have the acting chops, the acting credits that we've seen them in other things that they've excelled in. Putting that together for the DCU. Very excited for that. I have full faith and trust in James Gunn, although our own judge, Mr. De La Torre, not so much. Before we get to the news piece, I didn't realize this. Caleb Leland, aka Cable Leland, wanted Nori here, but Bullseye was in the Daredevil, that teaser. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he's
how quickly it went down. You know what I mean?
You saw his back as Daredevil's getting ready to kick his ass. That's what you saw.
What did he do?
So like in the trailer, you'll see his back. Like in the trailer, you see Daredevil getting ready to lock up and fight somebody. That person's Bullseye. You just see the back of him.
Oh, that's dope.
You see the front of him too, though. He's like, I don't know if he's like incarcerated or something, but he's like
wait.
chained up. Yeah.
Can't get here soon enough. March. All right. Next up, though, more DCU news. Joshua, what do we got?
Yeah, so James Gunn has confirmed the casting of Eve Riley as Rusa in Supergirl. She is a ally in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and it looks like they're going to completely follow the storyline. I'm not too familiar with this new storyline, so I'm assuming that her being an ally, she's like a younger version of Supergirl, or maybe gets taken under the wings, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I'll leave that up to you two gentlemen. Maybe Joe knows better than I do about that.
I haven't read it, but I do know she is on the cover. This is her first cover appearance right here. Supergirl. Yeah. It's a variant cover, issue 1. Gary Frank, one of my favorite artists. That is her in the front right there. I mean, sure, it's a little girl. She looks like she could play that part. But I need to read the storyline. There's been a lot of people in the comments from previous episodes that have said we need to read this. I think it's time, gentlemen, for DC to send us those books so we can read them.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually have a copy of issue 1 that I'm waiting to send to CDC and sell for $1 billion. When the movie comes out, but that's just
$1 billion. I'm sure it's going to be worth that much. And then honestly, you could buy out the canon. The board members probably would agree to that sale.
$1 billion.
I would actually make sure you guys get paychecks.
Wait, you do what?
I'd make sure you guys get paychecks.
We do get paychecks.
Josh doesn't know because hold on, Josh doesn't get a paycheck, so he doesn't know that.
I'm glad he can't hear us at all right now.
Yeah,
so bring him back and pretend like we didn't have this conversation.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could give us a paycheck.
You guys get paychecks.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love a paycheck for
No. You just said that you guys get paychecks, but you didn't meet me and you didn't turn off my audio, so I heard the whole time.
No.
Do you think he heard us?
I think he heard us.
Well, just play.
Hold on, ready? Hold on. We're gonna ready.
Mm-hmm.
I got an idea. We're having some technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah, technical difficulties. Look, people, they listen. They take advantage. They take advantage of my youth. They take advantage of my. Oh my God! Now everybody's going crazy here.
Oh,
again.
We're on here. Bye, Dan.
This is so embarrassing. Anyways, what are we talking? I don't even know what we're talking about. We got to move on to the next storyline, this next news piece, which is actually.
Hold on, I just want to say that's going to be a great clip for TikTok.
I hope we can edit that in some way. Moving on though, gentlemen. This is a sad one. An icon passed away. Joshua.
Yeah. So Greg Hildebrand. He's an artist and illustrator best known for his work in Star Wars, Marvel masterpieces, Magic the Gathering, and Lord of the Rings. sadly passed away at the age of 85. Um, you know, it's always sad when a known artist and somebody that you know you read a book on, or maybe even Magic the Gathering. Um, somebody that does phenomenal artwork, and you love what they do, and you love picking their stuff up, and then sadly they pass away. This man has definitely left behind a great legacy and career. Some of his Star Wars artwork is just like phenomenal. So yeah, definitely a loss in the community, and all around, not just comics, but cards and games and even books in general.
Yeah, I remember being 5 years old, 6 years old when I first was getting into comics. I was also collecting the cards. I started playing Magic the Gathering at 6, and I was a huge Star Wars fan as a kid as well. And I kept seeing him and his brother. Him and his brother Tim did a lot of artwork together. They're both professional artists, and I kept seeing their names pop up. And when you're that age, you don't really pay attention to the creators nearly as much. When you're single digit ages and stuff like that. But I would see their names on the bottom of the Marvel Masterpiece cards that I collected, and I would see their names on the bottom of the Magic the Gathering cards, and I was like, oh, this is the same two guys, Greg and Tim Hildebrand. I probably couldn't even pronounce that word back then. Probably didn't know how to read it, but I was like, Greg and Tim, yeah, my guys. And yeah, I love the Marvel Masterpiece cards as a kid, and I highly collected them from like 94 to 96. And getting more and more into Magic and stuff like that, they did a lot of cards back in the 90s, and I was really into them for that. It wasn't until I was probably in middle school that I found out that Greg Hildebrandt did the original Star Wars poster, and that was like such a shock to me, but it was such like a cool throwback to like my childhood and like kind of finding out who they were as artists. Tim had passed away a number of yeyears ago. I think he, maybe it was cancer or something, but it probably was almost 20 years ago at this point. I think I was in high school at the time. And, Greg continued to work well into his 70s and appeared at shows and stuff. And I'd heard probably about a year ago that he was not doing well health-wise. So it doesn't come as much of a surprise, but it's still, an incredible loss, that they're especially with both of them being gone now, spanning multiple different fandoms, and definitely having a huge impact on me as a child.
Yeah, I can back as a kid looking at this poster and just looking at every single detail about this, and it's so iconic. And the man left his mark with so many things, but for me, that's what hits home the most is that Star Wars poster. So
sure.
Rest in peace. You have definitely made this world brighter and more interesting with the art that you put out there. So,
and I just want to say one thing. I think that Alex Ross was super inspired by them. I think that his work, there's so many aspects of his work that it doesn't look like it's copying or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but I think that there is a lot of influence there and a lot of inspiration, which is that's saying a lot, because Alex Ross is a top dog, if not the top dog of modern comic artists, certainly one of them.
Absolutely. And you could definitely see, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing, I'm sure he's commented on it about this passing. So
yeah.
And there's no easy way to move on to the next story in times like these, but we must, because we have to get through the news. And actually this part of the news is a review. Josh, let's have you take the lead, because you're the news editor.
So first, I'm just going to say, no spoilers. This is just a honest review. So even if you haven't watched the whole show, don't worry, you won't be spoiled. Agatha has finally wrapped up last week. The last 2 episodes dropped, and I'm going to tell you, when they first announced the show last year or so, I was like, do we really need an Agatha show? I just, I really wasn't set on watching it. But honestly, I love this thing, man. I was hooked from episode 1, 2, and 3, and then the show just got better and better as it went on. And honestly, it's probably one of the better shows Marvel has probably put out, and one of the best pieces of content Marvel has put out recently too. The acting was very spot on. The soundtrack, you know, The Witch's Road was, you know, pleasing to the eye. I actually just saw some behind the scenes footage where they actually built a whole real Witch's Road in the studio, and it looked amazing. Even the actresses and actors were like blown away by it. So I just think like, hey, listen, you know, some people may not be into it, they may not think it's worth it. Me, I loved it. I think it moved some things forward in the MCU.
That's true.
It left some big answers at the end, and I think it kind of sets up some different things that we're going to see play out in the next few years. So, yeah, I'd give it, honestly, if we had to rate it on a 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a solid 8 out of 10, possibly even 9. I loved it.
Wow, 9. That's a big number.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Joe.
It was really good. You know, obviously, if you haven't watched yet, I suggest you do watch. No spoilers or anything, but you know, obviously, with anything that's gonna, you know, have like horror elements and stuff to it, there's gonna be twists and turns along the way, and they were pretty exciting ones. Not just that, but also a lot of references, a lot of comic book references and stuff like that. And not just references, but breadcrumbs that, you know, could lead to something else. You know, we saw a lot of things. You know, Jennifer Kale's obviously a main character in the show, and you know, she's a pretty prevalent supporting character. You know, going back to the Bronze Age of comics and stuff like that. She's for those of you who don't know, Ghost Rider's cousin. She's involved with, you know, witchcraft and the occult and stuff like that. She is in a lot of Man-Thing comics and stuff like that, and you know, just the fact that she showed up and played a prevalent role despite not being like, you know, an A tier or a B tier or a C tier character. I love when they do that. And yeah, I mean, I've said this time and time again, WandaVision is my favorite project of, you know, the new era, you know, the phase 4, phase 5 that we've been going through for the past couple of years. And I thought this was a perfect spin-off, you know, a perfect way to segue from that into, you know, an expansion of the MCU. It definitely was a very emotional show. If you like those tear jerkers, and if you like, you know, connecting with characters and then getting your heart ripped out, just watch the show.
For sure. I'll be honest with you guys. The first 4 episodes, it was like, I just did it out of obligation to the MCU. Like it was a rough watch. It was entertaining at times, but just didn't really, I was not excited about it. The home stretch of the last 3 episodes, I'd say, especially the last 2 episodes, make it all worthwhile. Worthwhile. And I encourage everybody out there who's kind of hating on the show and they stopped after the first 2, stick it out, because it's worthwhile, because it sets people, as Josh said, on a journey. And that is for sure. It's fascinating how these actually 2 characters specifically kind of transformed into something else. Not like, I wouldn't say, I'm not giving away much at all, and it's not like they transformed from you know, into like the Man-Thing and unrecognizable, but in a way they grew, and it was exciting to see. It was exciting to see those characters grow, because that's everything. And I love what Dr. Guion said here. It was great. I believe that being one of the cheaper Marvel shows allowed them to focus on characters, unlike most projects nowadays. I didn't even think about that until you said it, and that is so spot on.
Yeah.
Caleb also agreed with this as well. But yeah, and Caleb also says, I need to see Young Avengers come to fruition. We're getting there. Like, it's very close right now. Very close.
They can't not do it now.
There's one character missing, I think, right?
There's a couple kind of.
There's 2 characters missing. My bad.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say, just kind of going back to Agatha real quick, and maybe it's the fact that they were following a road for the majority of the time, but it was very reminiscent of like a darker version of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
A group of people going through these trials and tribulations along the road that is this like whimsical, kind of mysterious place, and bad things are happening, good things are happening along the road as well, and that they have this end goal to get something they want. I think that was kind of a cool homage to one of the, if not like possibly like one of the most popular movies of all time.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good call out right there. And again, I'm excited to see where it goes. Who knows if they'll have a season 2? If not, they'll be able to incorporate the continuation of certain character stories. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I was gonna say, what's interesting is the viewership on this. This actually had a higher viewership than some of the WandaVision show episodes. It had it beat out Loki. It actually had a higher viewership than most of the episodes of Loki, and Loki got for season 2. So I don't think, from what I'm hearing, and I'll talk about it maybe more next week. What I think we're going to see this, it's kind of like how this was a spin-off of WandaVision. Well, I think this is going to spin off into Vision. You're going to see some things that happen in here pop up in Vision.
Wow.
And I think later in a future movie or another show, you're going to see other things. You know what I mean? But I'm okay. If they say, hey, we want to do an Agatha season 2, I'm down for it, man. I mean, I think this is a hit. Like, again, a lot of people were sleeping on it. And the twist ending that you just, like, if you would have watched a certain episode, you should have picked up on it. And I told Joe about this today. I didn't have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
There's hints about what the ending is and how you should have caught it. So I'm going to say,
I don't know this. I got to talk to you.
We'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, please. I definitely want to know that. But I think, I think all of us are speaking favorably of Agatha. Probably I'm the most critical, but you guys loved it. So again, if you're hearing bad, I haven't even heard any negative things about it, to be honest with you. I'm sure there are trolls out there that are throwing their, believe
it or not, this is one of the shows that, like, for the first time in a while, you haven't seen much. I mean, you have a small group of people, but other than that, like, no, this has actually been a well-received show.
Okay, that's good to hear. I haven't been paying attention to the critics or anything, but again, completely worth your time, in our opinion. And with that said, that ends the news, but not the news segment, because we get into something that we call, go for it, Joe.
Oh, me?
Yeah, sing it. Hurry up.
Rumor report.
Josh's rumor report.
Josh's rumor
report.
Report. Josh's rumor report.
That was awesome. And we never even rehearsed that. That's like improv, literally.
It was not as good as Caleb's. I don't know why you just didn't run Caleb's, but
well, that's true. Yeah. But we're not going to charge you guys extra for that. That's for sure. Josh, let's get into it. Got 2 pieces of rumors.
We got 2 pieces, MCU news. So, speaking of Spider-Man, Spider-Man 4 will reportedly be titled Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is also the name of a certain comic, and it will reportedly be a sequel to Avengers Doomsday, kind of like how Far From Home was in a way, a sequel to Endgame. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Now, what's interesting to note is, again, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Could that be possibly a hint that if the movie is named Brand New Day, are they going to take some storylines from that comic and put it into the movie?
Interesting. Who knows? This is a tough one because it does come out rather close to Doomsday. Doomsday coming out in May, Spider-Man 4 coming out in July. That's rather close. Yeah. But who knows what's going to happen with, because Doomsday, you would think, is going to set off Secret Wars. Am I right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna lead into it for sure. This is cool. I really like this. You know, if you read the One More Day comic, at least if I'm remembering correctly, it came after Mephisto erased everyone's memory, just like Doctor Strange erased everyone's memory. So you know, it's kind of aligning with the comics a little bit. One thing that I noticed, there were plenty of references to Mr. Negative in the Spider-Man movies, his company and a couple like his organizations and stuff like that. Just little Easter eggs. Nothing that he wasn't named or anything like that. But he's a character in the Brand New Day run. I think that's where he had his first appearance, if I remember correctly. So could that be a character that we're going to see? I know he kind of is a character that had kind of a little bit of a cult following, but then was in the Spider-Man video game. I'm pretty sure he's a prominent character in the Spider-Man video game. And then for that reason, maybe they're, kind of keeping that ball rolling, as part of popularity and bringing him into the movies. That'd be pretty cool.
Next to Tombstone, I would like to see that character.
Ooh.
Remember we were talking about these we had this conversation of underrated Spider-Man characters. I think Tombstone, I'd be psyched for Tombstone. That's high up on the list. Mr. Negative's below that, but
still high, yeah.
Really close to Tombstone.
It is interesting to note that it was rumored that after Doomsday, we'll have Spider-Man come out. I believe Daredevil season 2 will happen in between that and Secret Wars, along with a few other projects. So rumor is that after Doomsday, every project between that and Secret Wars will be set in the Battle World.
Okay.
So we're gonna see what happens. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm hearing a lot of chatter about everything, and some of the stuff that people have been talking about rumor-wise have come out, and like one guy even said James Gunn was working on a trailer for Superman. Gunn just confirmed that he started working on the trailer last week. This guy tried saying like 3 months ago he's working on the trailer. So take it, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, set pictures will eventually be showing up, as we get closer and they start shooting.
Well, yeah, casting is going to be interesting. All the speculation on who these people will be. For sure, but that's what keeps you. That's why you love this gig so much. It keeps you on your toes. You got to hunt those sources down to make sure you're right, because you are one of the most credited people. People trust the word of Josh, right? They trust Josh to deliver the news for the camera.
Amen.
And you do.
And hey, look, I may have coworkers that doubt me about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom. That's cool.
Yeah, those guys suck.
Right.
Hey, what's the next rumor?
So Joe actually mentioned it when we were talking about Agatha. He stole my thunder here. And I was hoping to let people know about this. But Jennifer Gale may be returning and may potentially help introduce her cousin Johnny Blaze in the MCU. Hey, you know what? There's always been rumors and talks about, Ghost Rider showing up. And hey, if this is the case, maybe she'll form Midnight Suns.
Ooh, look at Josh.
Or at least, I don't know her character. Like, I don't know if she's in Midnight Suns at all. But I mean, hey, who knows? Or she'll just like show up on a certain show or a movie, like, hey, here's my cousin Johnny. He turns into a ghost on fire. Like, I mean, who knows, right? We don't know, but I do think if you watch Agatha, it leaves it open. We'll see what happens.
For sure. That's close. One step closer to Ghost Rider, having her in the MCU right now. So let's just hope, because there's so many rumors as to who's going to play Ghost Rider. And we still just have nothing on that yet. So I'm psyched for that character for sure. Joseph.
I keep seeing Ryan Gosling. That is like the big one that I've seen over and over.
Ketch or
I think it's Johnny.
Him is Johnny.
Yeah.
So all right. So give me real quick. Each one of you guys, who would you like cast?
I'd love to see Ryan Gosling has the acting chops and the attitude.
I'll go Gosling as Ketch and Reedus as Blaze.
Oh, okay.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, Norman Reedus is probably the other name that I've heard the most.
Yeah, he was rumored for a long time. Actually, he was supposed to be Null. Rumor was he was Null, and then like somebody announced that, and then no, it came out and it wasn't him. So
Andy Serkis was Null.
It was Andy Serkis. I haven't seen Venom yet, so it was him.
Oh, it was him. Yes.
Oh yeah, it's
there's no spoiling Null. Okay, like we all, it doesn't to me. It doesn't matter who plays him.
Well, it's first of all, it's I don't think the CGI was that good, but yeah, it's a CGI. Like it's not. It's him in a caption suit again, like he did in King Kong and Planet of the Apes and all.
As Null.
Yeah, it's not. It's
the weird part is he does his Gollum voice for Null. It's so
shut
weird.
up. I believe it for a second. I was like, oh god, that's a horrible choice. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's all CGI. He's not practical. That's not practical effects. Like him in a suit. That's CGI. You can tell. It's
By the way, Charlie Hunnam as Danny Ketch would still work. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that would still work.
That's absolutely. The guy from
Charlie needs to be Green Arrow in the DCU.
No. Why? Because he has
Yes.
Stop it. No. Danny Ketch Ghost Rider would be dope. All right, but we need to move along here. Josh, you've delivered the news this week. You will be getting your paycheck, of course. You still have to get us your address. That has not been. Have you gotten that in the HR department, Joe? Have you seen that? The paperwork?
I can't even get in contact with the HR department.
Man, it's so nice having him on the show, delivering the news. I don't know why he had to leave so early, but let's just end it. That ends Josh's rumor report, and that officially ends the news. He did a fantastic job this week.
Dude. Yeah.
Great. He's such a good guy. But anyways, we're going to move on to the next segment. It's all about you and the community. You people you're the gasoline that allows us to drive this machine, this beast, this monster of a truck, comic book canon. And it's all about you and who you are and what you do. So with that said, we're going to get into something we haven't done for a few weeks. It's called the popcorn. We hope you enjoy this. And after that, just start to think about what you want to ask Joe, if you know what I mean. So
put it in the chat.
But that being said, let's just get to it, shall we?
Hello, my name is Andrew Pomaringo. Most people know me as Palms Funny Books on Instagram. And I've been collecting comics for like 35 plus years and currently reside in Midlothian, Virginia, south side of Richmond. My very first comic book was Marvel Feature number 12. Great cover with the Thing being mugged by the Blood Brothers and Iron Man swooping in to save them. And I think also done by Jim Starlin, which is really, really cool. My hobbies outside of comics, I'm a big fan of music, mainly heavy music, thrash, death metal, heavy metal, and I play guitar. Me and my son both play guitar and talk music all the time, talk guitar and guitar-related gear all the time, and I love it. So I nominate Nicholas Sapienza, comic.book.page. Great guy, good friend, and Joe over at Meek Mansion, thank you for nominating me, and everyone, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, everybody, follow Palms_funnybooks. Next up is comic.book.pages.
I've actually Nick and I we follow each other on Instagram. We're friends on Facebook. I've bought from him and he's bought from me before. So yeah, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about him.
Excellent. Yeah. Again, it's all about you and the community, as we said. Please get your questions in for Ask Joe, like the Immortal Scruffy has. But before we do that, we got to say hello to all you fine people. Goonish Lurker did like that Palms Funny Books. That's great to know. Again, this segment does really well, and we're very grateful for that. We got Raw Dog Comics in the house. Obviously, Caleb Leland is here. Dr. Plagueis, love that popcorn as well. We got Pope of Chili Town. I don't understand. What did he do to get royalty checks, Joe? I mean,
he's the greatest guest of all time.
Right, but he didn't sign the paperwork either. Goonish Lurker, I said, was in the house. Dr. Guion, Nukes Comics, Spud Comics. Hey. Who else? Who else? Who else? We have Dan De La Torre. Obviously, the judge will be back later today. So many of you wonderful people writing so many things. It's hard to get through it all. Who else, Joe? Who else? Who else? Who else? Brian Klotz making fun of my Sixers sweatshirt. No big whoop. No big whoop. I'm good. I'm good with that. Okay. Is that it? That can't be it. There's so many of you here. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm trying to make this happen. Mill Skills 123. Talking about Josh's pickup, which I think you're going to see him fresh from the comic shop if we bring him back. Great bunch of people and Comic Cap Collectibles. Hello all. All right. So as you know, we do this fine segment called Ask Joe. We will have one from the judge. I have to say that. Just got news that will happen. But before any of these questions are answered by Ask Joe, we have to run something.
Ask Joe and Jeff.
Me. Yes, that's right. We're going to get right into it now with these wonderful questions from these wonderful people. Let's start real quick. We have Ask Joe and Jeff, what would you rather, a season 2 of Penguin or a season 2 of Agatha?
This is very easy for me.
It's very easy for me as well.
I would rather have a season 2 of Penguin, and the reasons are twofold. One, I do think Penguin is a better show. I really did like Agatha. Josh gave it an 8. I'd probably give it a 7.5. Like I thought it was, great, not phenomenal. Penguin is like a 9 for me. That show might even creep up into like the 9.5. I also think it's more necessary to have another season of Penguin than Agatha. I think Agatha had a really good, it served its purpose, and I don't think it's necessary to continue. Whereas Penguin, I could see them doing freaking 5 seasons of that show and it being good. Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I said, it was easy for me. I was going to go 7 for Agatha. Penguin's a solid 9 for me. I feel like I'm blown away each week because it could be just a mob show, honestly, but it's set in the Batman universe. Colin Farrell is just incredible. He better win something, and just the surrounding cast and the writing, everything is just fantastic. I have to go a season 2 of Penguin over season 2 of Agatha. No question there. Moving on. We got Spud Comics. Ask the bestie. Me or you?
No, it's me. Sorry.
Got it. Thanks, Spud. Really appreciate it.
All right, so the question is, do y'all have any other shows you want to attend this year? As of right now, I have nothing booked that I'm going to be selling at. There's a couple shows that I might do, but attending, different story. I'm actually doing one next weekend. There's one in Swedesboro, New Jersey, just a little small hotel ballroom show at the Holiday Inn, I think, in Swedesboro. Bill Bede from Frankenstein Comics is the one who puts it on. They're a South Jersey local comic shop. What else? There's a couple other. There's a Lehigh Valley Comic Con, I think, on December 7th that I was thinking about maybe popping up to. But yeah, no big ones. The big ones are kind of all done for the year. They definitely stay away from the holiday season, kind of from Thanksgiving through the winter holidays, for good reasons. People travel, people aren't available, people are spending money on other things such as travel and gifts. So, the next bigger ones that I'm going to, we got King Con, we got Super Jersey Comic Expo, and One Day Comic Show all in the spring. So, and a Lehigh Valley Comic Con as well. Jeff, welcome back.
I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to see anybody. Moving on. Ask Joe, CBC, and Jeff as well. Joe, today you were selling books at a local show. What books did you see that were selling, and what would you recommend newer sellers to bring if they were selling?
So one thing that I noticed that was just going today was cheap Silver and Bronze Age filler issues. I had a lot of books. I had a BOGO sale for my $5 and $10 books. So they were all essentially 50% off because they were buy one, get one free. And a lot of stuff in those boxes were Silver and Bronze Age filler, maybe some minor keys as well in there. And those were selling very well. People had their list, they were filling out. You know, there was a couple there. The guy was pulling out books, you know, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Fantastic Four. And he was handing it to his wife, and his wife was checking the notepad that they had. That was like, oh, you have this one, you have this one. We need this one. So there was a little teamwork there. So I saw a lot of that. A lot of people grabbing the bronze and silver, fillers. And then, of course, the keys are selling well right now. Especially the pricier ones, the $100 plus books, just because prices are down significantly from the heights of 2021, and they seem much more affordable than they have been in years. So that's a good sign for the possible upswing. The market has been either going down or level for the past few years, and I have some high hopes that after the holiday season we'll see at least a plateau, if not like a little uptick in the market. Biggest book I sold today was a Mad 1, $800 for a low grade raw Mad. Pretty good sale.
Nice. That's some nice pocket change. All right, we are going to bring in the judge because he has a live question for Ask Joe. Woo. And Jeff. Hello, Judge. Huh. It's easier to hear you when you don't have your mute on.
I'm sorry, my secretary. Well,
that's
you're
physics.
You're
Isn't
fired.
that physics?
God,
that's physics, right, Joe? You got to have your.
It's old age. Anyway, okay, perfect segue after your response, Joe, to it seems like an acceleration for purchases and interest in comics. I mean, the pandemic's over, the writer's strike is over. It seems like Marvel and DC are both on the right track. Even James Gunn is showing some signs of life for me. I like what's going on, including with DC's Absolute series, including Absolute Batman. I mean, that's really taken off here. So,
oh yeah,
it was good. It was very good.
It looks fantastic. So the future looks bright. But this is 3-4 years since we've had the boom. A lot of comic shows have popped up. Comic Tom, I'll bring him up because everyone knows who he is. I like Comic Tom. But he bases all of his spec price is on CGC and CGC only. Rarely will he bring up CBCS. And my biggest concern is that he doesn't bring up raw comics at all. Now, since that time, there's Whatnot. Whatnot's only a couple years old, isn't it? Since entering the market.
Yeah.
All that. Is there I think there should, I'll answer my own question. There should be something more reliable. To your knowledge, is there something more reliable regarding comic value? Because if you're just using CGC as a comic baseline, I think that's wrong. We need to expand in a big way.
Well, Tom does use CBCS data and raw data. It's just few and far between because there's not as many CBCS sales. And for something to hit his list, I think if I remember correctly, his criteria is there need to be like 3 sales within a month that show. So it's not often that there's 3 CBCS sales in a month that can show us data versus how many times that happens all the time with CGC. But there is raw data. They usually do every once in a while raw stuff. The thing about CGC that makes it easiest to track is the fact that there are so many sales of CGC compared to CBCS and even with a lot of stuff, keys and stuff, more so than raw books as well. And B, the grade, compared to a raw book, at least what CGC has deemed it as the grade, as opposed to, how many times you go on eBay and you look at a book and it says near mint, you click on it and that thing is a very good at best. It's a 4.0 and the person has it listed as a near mint 9.4. It's a lot easier to kind of comb through the data, especially using, GPA, grade point analysis, which tracks all CGC sales for eBay and multiple different auction houses and things like that. And also individual sellers can report their data for sales. it's just a much more consistent and easier way to do it than fishing through every Raw book, trying to look at all the pictures and actually determine the grade. Just look at the CGC grade.
Well, that's true, but I have an unconfirmed report. I think you probably have heard it too. That Raw sales are really outshining slab books, and it's so much so that needs to. I know it's not accurate, but there needs to be some sort of assessment for Raw sales, because again, they are skyrocketing versus the slab comics, which is sort of expensive.
Yeah, and there was a big, with the uptick of the comic boom, with so many new people getting into the hobby. There were so many people that wanted to make sure that they weren't getting ripped off and they weren't buying something that was a lesser grade than it was. So they were buying CGC books, graded books in general, more frequently than Raw books. So, we saw a big disparity in the price difference of graded books and Raw books during 2020, 2021, 2022. And that has come back down at this point now. Obviously, 9/8 still holds supreme, and you're going to pay a little bit less for a Raw book that looks like a 6 versus a 6.0 Silver Age slab, but there's definitely less of a gap now, and I think that it really helps people figure out the pricing as well, because say a book's $500 in a 6.0, $500, all day. That's just the kind of standard prices. Some dealers are going to try to sell it for $500, or what would I say? $600. No, sorry. Let's restart. 5.0, $500. Make it easy. Some people are going to try to sell that for the full 500 as a graded one. And some people might buy it. Some people that prefer Raws, but, trust that dealer in making that assessment is like, okay, I'm going to buy this. Other people, they'll hold out until they find a 5.0 Raw for $400, and then they can grade it for $50 or whatever, and they get it for $450 if it comes out in that grade instead of paying the full $500. You are right. Raws have been selling, at least comparatively to the past few years, a lot better than they were. And slabs are selling a lot slower. I have plenty of 9/8 slabs that I have marked at under, recent sales that just sit there. Especially modern variants. Even popular modern variants. I'm talking like books that have sales over $200 that I have marked at 180 or 150, and they're sitting a little bit. That being said, it's so much harder to track the value of Raws. And so many Raws are bought at comic stores and comic shows, and none of that data is reported. Yeah. So it gets tricky.
Well done, Dr. Judge, and your whatever else, what other prefixes you have. We will see you a little bit later because you have a job to do, CBC Superior Court Judge. Great question. As always, he's asking the good questions right there. But we got to get to other great questions too. Nukes Comics. What storyline, either specific character or title, would you retcon? Ooh, that's a tough one.
Retcon. Wow. Okay. This is a hard
very hard question.
You know what? I'm gonna drop one. It's not really a retcon as much as it is a completion. James from Minhunter Comics reminded me of this recently with one of his videos. All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder, that run never finished. It went up to issue either 10 or 12 and was supposed to have either 12 or 14 issues. There were supposed to be 2 more issues than it was, and it was just never finished. What's his name? Frank Miller was writing it, and not in good health at that time. For those who don't know, Frank Miller has had some very severe addiction problems, and he was really going through it during that time. In fact, the 10 or 12 issues of that run that did come out took 3 years. And Jim Lee, obviously being who he is, very busy guy. So that run took a very long time and was never finished. I would love to see that run finished. And James actually has a video about unfinished runs and spoke about that one. And it kind of reminded me that had never actually come to fruition.
That's fascinating. I'll tell you one that it's so weird. It's happening right now, but I have no desire to pick it up. But if there was some more fanfare and more oomph to it, I loved Valiant back in the day, right? Valiant Comics, and they revamped it in 2012, and I was so psyched.
Yeah.
And then it went down the shitter because some media company bought it, did not know how to handle the property, and now Dr. Guion has informed us that another company has licensed Valiant Universe to produce comic books. Now, I will be picking up Dr. Guion's specific issue, but I have trouble getting into it. And what I'm trying to say is I really wish the Valiant Universe was done right. But who knows? Maybe I will still pick these issues up. Dr. Guion, you should let me know how it's going. But I will be picking up your issue. All right, moving on. We have Brian Klotz. Ask Joe and Jeff, how many exclusive and variants is too many for New York Comic Con? I have an answer real quick, Joe, if I could preempt you.
Yeah, sure.
I have heard it's 19. Below 19, you're okay. But if it's over 19, that's too many. And the New York Comic Con executives will be coming to your house to take away whatever it is that brings it down to 20. Joe.
Yeah, so I get the point of them. There are just way too many. You know, if there were a couple every show, like, honestly, you said 20 just now. If there were like 5 every show, that'd be cool. You know, maybe do like one, you know, reprint of a major key with a variant cover, maybe one like legendary cover, reprint of a legendary cover that's like homaged or something like that, or like a foil edition of that. And then a couple books that are coming out currently that are popular, and like Ultimate Spider-Man would be a good one.
Yeah.
Or
Absolute run.
Right. Absolute Batman, something like that. That would be cool. If there was like, oh, I got this exclusive, but when there's literally hundreds and the vast majority of them, go from being, you buy them for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever they're charging, and they, go down to being a $1 to $5 book. Come on. Like,
yeah,
it's not good for the hobby. It's not good for the hobby. And just like, for the past 20 years, people have been buying comic collections that are, you go look at a collection. Oh, I've got these old comics, blah, blah, blah. And this comes up all the time for me. And you go and you check out the collection, and it's 90s Valiant or 90s Image and not the good Image stuff. Imagine the situation where people are showing up and it's just like modern covered G variant covers and con exclusives and store exclusives, and you have no idea how to sort through it. Like, it's going to be so tough. Like, when it's a popular character or a popular artist, Harley Quinn or like, an Adam Hughes variant or something. Sure. That stuff's like, it sells and it retains its value and it's decent. But when, random XYZ book has 37 covers and, it's a minor first appearance that's never going to go anywhere, and, con exclusives and store exclusives and artists that, are really not super popular artists other than the fact that they do a bunch of store exclusives and stuff like that. Like, come on. It's not going to be good for the hobby in the long run. We're going to start coming across those collections that are just that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's junk. A lot of it's junk.
People will realize pull back on all of this.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%.
And I want to say one thing. Collect what you like. That is, I'm not shaming anyone for what you collect. Just be careful of what you're paying on things.
Yeah.
Because most con exclusives resell for less than they're selling for at the con. So instead of going to that con and running around to the tables paying, top dollar, you're better off probably waiting 6 months, a year, if you really want those books, and buying them all on eBay. And you're sure one or two is going to be worth more than you could have bought it for. but most of them are going to be worth less. I bet the average is still going to be less.
Yeah, in
6
your
months
favor.
or a year later.
For
Yeah.
sure. Before we get to the next question, I want to remind everybody that community
Yes.
member, former Canon alumnus, just a reminder, the Bloodshot issue I'm in, well, he wrote, is releasing this month, and it
Mhm.
also features a Mirka Andolfo story. Can you please put the date it's releasing and maybe even a link if possible? Dr. Yan, we're running a show here, but we want
You
to
should.
support you.
I mean, you should be able to just order that from your store.
Sure. But
Yeah,
still, just
Yeah.
again, maybe a link if people can't get to LCS or what have you.
Right.
All right. Ask the besties. I'm going to stick around for this. Any books you're excited for release this year? Me personally, it's Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg.
Listen, I got a look at Absolute Superman recently, and for the first time in my life, I think I'm going to buy a Superman.
A Superman
comic
book? You?
I have never bought a Superman comic
Wow.
off the rack.
Yo, time out.
Yeah, for myself.
You come with heat for Fresh from the Comic Shop.
Yeah.
If this happens, that better be a part of your Fresh Gets.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will. If I like it, it might be. If I have a good
fair enough.
recommendation.
Fair enough.
He almost looks like that kind of like he almost looks like Nightwing. Like he looks like a lot more like angsty and stuff like that. The absolute version of Superman. So I'm a big Nightwing fan. I'm gonna give this a try. We'll see.
You're setting yourself up for failure, I think.
I'm not saying it's gonna be like Nightwing.
Yeah. Okay.
It just kind of gives me that feeling. So I want to try it out.
I do like what Caleb says here. That's
personal growth. Yeah.
It really is. All right, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go along the same lines as you. But I'm going to go Marvel with the Ultimate Year One. I think it's a one shot that reveals the Ultimate Universe Wolverine. It's not that similar. I mean, it's similar. But he's got like a full mask and stuff like that, and it's also a nice homage to Barry Windsor Smith, Weapon X. That cover. So I'm excited for that. It comes out this week, I think. Or wait, maybe it's on FOC. I can't remember if it's this week or if it's FOC, but I'm excited for that. Let us know what you guys are all excited for in terms of releases that are coming up to close out 2024. Can you believe it, Joe? 2024 is less than 2 months. It'll be 2025. Crazy. We have one more final question. We got to get to this because this is the most important question. Ask Joe CBC, can you recommend a good shampoo?
I can't because I have not used shampoo in over a decade at this point. I started shaving my head
in the same boat as you,
college.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. So
yeah, I started shaving my head in college, and I really don't. I'm not a shampoo guy. So
I have a very different answer than you. Okay.
Oh yeah, what's your answer?
Whatever's in the shower is what I use.
Sure.
I still use shampoo on my head. You don't?
On your head?
Yeah.
There's no hair there. Shampoo is for
but
hair.
It moisturizes the skin. This is a different type of skin than the rest of your body. Come on, Joe.
It's the same. It's the same.
You can get dandruff if
soap or body wash.
Huh?
Dove soap, Dove body wash.
Oh, whatever. This is honestly, that was a great question to close out this segment that we call. What do we call it? What's it called?
Ask Joe and Jeff
and me. Time out. Josh said he has he can answer this shampoo situation. Go for it, Josh.
So look, gentlemen, I cut my hair today, but I still use shampoo. I use Head and Shoulders, bourbon flavored, or bourbon, smelling.
About to say, I was going to follow that up and be like, you taste your, that's disgusting. But okay, thank you for the recommendation. What is it, Pert or Head and Shoulders? Oh, it's Head and Shoulders bourbon.
Yeah, Head and Shoulders.
Or is it Head and Shoulders and you add bourbon in there and just...
Nah. Head and Shoulders mixed in with bourbon, kind of like Jack and Coke.
Not at all. My God, why do we... I can't believe it. Do you think he heard us? No, seriously, that's a great idea. It's just like Jack and Coke shampoo. We're going to see you a little bit later today. So, anyways, I'm sorry we had to do it. All right, next up right here, right now, we have a wonderful segment. And Joe, why do I never make a new graphic for this segment that goes with our branding? It's all old corny ass branding. Why is that?
I don't know. You're busy, man. You got a life, you got a child, you got a fiance, you've got a job, you've got maybe some semblance of a social life. I don't actually know that. I can't confirm. I might be your only friend.
I only have four numbers in my 5. My family, my brother, my mom, my dad, you, and Alicia.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah,
and you also have the Wilmington, Delaware location of Olive Garden on speed dial.
I do, because they're the only place that gives out free breadsticks, right? They're the
only location. Yeah.
Right. So I have to keep that on speed dial because I'll pick up a few free breadsticks every once in a while. No doubt about that. But we're getting off track here because we're here to do a segment to close out the show. What is it called?
The segment that I bestow on you on this most holy of days is referred to by the name Fresh from the Comic Shop.
Oh, that was such good timing. Fly from the pressing salon. That's right. We ask you, the fine viewers, to send in your fresh gets. You never disappoint each and every week. Not only is it rewarding to show off your fresh get to the community, but you could win a monthly prize, right? And even a big yearly prize, big year book of the year. Which I guess we have to reveal soon. Jeez, that came up on us quick. You send in your fresh gets through Instagram. Use the hashtag FFTCS. Make sure to tag us in the picture, not in the description, and you will get here on the segment Fresh from the Comic Shop in front of millions of people. Be sure to like and subscribe, by the way. Millions. Right now, you have 17 million people you can be showing off your fresh get if you didn't send it in. And I'm a little disappointed, because you guys haven't been sending them in much lately. And it's you could win. But not all of you. I'm not disappointed. Actually, some of you I'm like, whoa, you are bringing your A game every single time. Joe, real quick, before we get into it, we have to also say that, I've been busy and it's been my fault. So we're giving away the October book of the month, this beautiful Immortal Thor #1, the Missed Minutes variant. We'll be going to a lucky semifinalist, but we have 2 semifinalists that have to go at it. That's Goonish Lurker and Mark Leneker, and the next one advances to the finals against Spuds. So sorry, we'll have all of that happening this week. Please be on the lookout for those. We post these votes on the stories. And again, we are so very grateful and lucky to have EGS and Spider Dude Comics, partner with us and make this segment so good. They're the ones that give away these books. An amazing Spider Dude comic that goes in an amazing EGS slab. And right now, all the time, actually, if you use the code Cannon5, you get 5% off your EGS order. We've talked about how much we love EGS grading. Optional custom labels really set them apart. Free grader notes and fast turnaround times. The links for EGS grading, EGS comics is down below, as well as Spider Dude Comics. Be sure to follow them on the Instagrams as well. Now, big reveal here, because we do have the November month book of the month that we haven't given away the October book of the month yet. And this one's just awesome. I mean, come on. November book of the month is Extreme Venomverse #1. This is the Ryan Stegman variant. That, Joe, right there is another great example of what EGS is. Look at the color gradient right there. That matches the color gradient on the comic book. You got Venom right center, right slab dab in the middle right there with the little kind of head logo. I love it, Joe. I love this one. What do you think?
Yeah, super sick. Gradient is perfect. And man, it matches so well. And
it really does. Again, psyched to give this away for the month of November. And if you all don't know, we have 3 pieces of criteria that we ask you to provide that will help your chances. We'll go through this real quick, right, Joe? Real quick. Presentation. Make sure you take a well-composed shot. Give us some depth of field. Give us some color. Get creative with the shot. Have it relate back to the comic book you are showing off. Somebody who does this very well is Raising Elm Comics. Joseph, next.
Number 2. please make sure that you give us something that is unique. Unique. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be $30,000,
Nope.
although it could be $30,000 if you're
Yep.
a true baller. That being said, it could be something that's 30 cents, $30, $30,000 for all we care.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. The point is, we want to see something that maybe we haven't seen before. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that book has to be a rare scarcity, because there's plenty of books from the golden age that most people don't know about. You know, that same thing with indie books, just lesser known things. And could be some original art, could be a signed book, could be a book that has some sort of defect, misprint, or something unique about it, like a Mark Jewelers insert, double cover, whatever it may be. Show us something that maybe we haven't seen before.
Facts. And Mark Leneker, you can't just show a picture of $30,000. That's not going to get you in Fresh from the Comic Shop. However, if it's a $30,000 book and you show an extra $30,000 around it, that would definitely that would go far. Not saying you're buying us off, but you could send some of that money our way as well. And give us a story, give us something that tears it, pulls at our heartstrings, something that we can relate to, something that means something to you, and can also be an inspirational story or mean something to somebody else. That right there, those are the three pieces of criteria that help us decide which books do move on. And speaking of those books that do move on and actually win, I just want to go over this. By the way, if you're interested, you get a CNGO, Fresh from the Comic Shop t-shirt, Comic Book Canon t-shirt at CNGO. Link is down below. So these books that have made it and won the months, respective months, are Mike Hags in January, Dr. Plagueis in February, Mons Comics in March, April is Nukes Comics, May is Kaboom Comics, June is Super Crispy Dot Comics, July is Nori Jordan, and we have August is Raising Elm. I'm sorry, I'm getting lost here. And September is C to the G. We will announce the October winner next episode, actually, and move a semifinalist on from this episode. So first off, this is a nice one, and we always like seeing pictures of the audience in there. We've seen this guy's face and heard his music. It's real Caleb Leland, comic fam. It's not often that my Fresh from the Comic Shop submission falls on Supernatural Saturday, but this feels perfect as we head out of spooky season. But hey, for some of us, every day is Halloween. Digging through the back issues bins at my local comic shop, I happened to come across issue 2 of Dark Shadows from 1969, featuring the incomparable Jonathan Frid on the cover as Barnabas Collins. Like others my age, my introduction to Dark Shadows was the revival series in the 90s. My mom and I bonded over that show, and she then got me into the original Gothic soap opera from the 60s that she watched when she was young. I've always had a fascination with the macabre, especially vampires, and Barnabas was one of the coolest. It's definitely not a 9.8, but like our good friend Joe at 360 Comics says, low grade is better than no grade. This is a book that I will definitely treasure, and hopefully I'll find issue 1 someday. Cheers! I love this, by the way, because he told us what it means to him with his mom watching, Dark Shadows. I don't remember the 90s series at all. I saw the movie, was not too into it, but I do love it.
I didn't even know there was a 90s series. I knew there was the old one,
yeah,
60s or 70s, and then I knew about the movie, which was again not great.
But I don't know much about this, but this means something to Caleb, and he succinctly told us why. Next up, we have Mark Leneker. Sparkler Comics 2, August of 1941 by United Feature Syndicate. This anthology series was composed primarily of color reprints of comic strips, but Sparkman was created just for this comic. His secret identity was hidden, and readers were left to decide between 3 possibilities. This is cool, by the way. He revealed his true identity when he joined the armed forces, dropping his cape and electrical powers, and became a kind of Captain America type. Sparkman's adventures folded in 1946 as a series focused on the popular Nancy and Sluggo characters. There's some really great Tarzan covers too. Very cool. This would be something that I would think would fall under unique, but Mark unfortunately is up for the semifinals for October, and we apologize, but that was very cool right there. Joe, your first fresh. Actually, let's bring Josh in. Josh has a fresh get, apparently. Mark, who is it? Who said it? Somebody knows what this is. Oh, Brian. Brian said
Brian.
this old birdie told me that Josh has a really cool fresh get. Josh, you're gonna have to bring him in.
Brian and Josh were both at Philly Comic Con today. And, Josh was able to pick up this book there after getting it in an acclaim sale.
So I actually I picked up a lot of great cool books you're going to be seeing in the next couple of weeks, but I picked up a book that I didn't think I would have for a long time. Our good co-host Joe had it up for grabs. Asked to make a deal on it. He came back and Paul Bond. Yeah, Bond.
Paul
Bond. Offered to put up $200 on this book.
Paul Bond.
Paul
Bond.
Paul Bondage. Paul Bondage.
Bond.
All right. So anyway, Joe had this book, and I made an offer on it, and a little bit of a low ball offer, you would say. But Paul came through and offered to put $200 on the book if I helped him out. At the end of the day, Paul actually said, "Don't worry about it. I'm just going to pay the $200. You don't have to help me." So I showed up early to help Joe, but I got this for a steal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at you. I would bring you full screen, but it's not going to do much because it looks exactly the same. But you know what? We're just distracted at this point. That is nice, man.
Yeah, 5-0. First appearance of Poison Ivy. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to probably sleep with this in my bed for the next couple of days. Maybe, take it out to dinner. Maybe, a little candlelight dancing. Who knows? Bake cookies at 1 a.m. and my boxers with it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just like, moments like this and picking up books like this and this community and having great members like Joe and Paul are just top notch and phenomenal. So yeah, I appreciate those two guys so much, and this can't believe I have this book now in my collection. It's just a great feeling. So
we're very happy for you. Go ahead, Josh.
The best part, it's got white pages. We love a good 60s and an older book with white pages.
For sure.
And here's the thing, even if it wasn't white pages, I would still be fine with it because the pinup's intact, and it's hard to find this book with the pinup. And even if you do, it's very pricey. But everybody took that pinup and would put them on the walls or doors or whatever. And yeah.
For sure. Well done, Josh. We're going to see you in a little bit to close out the show. Josh, why don't we get into your first? Oh, hello, Josh. Why don't we get into your first fresh get of this week as well?
You mean Joe? You just call me Josh.
Your name is Joe.
I only have one fresh get of the week, so why don't you wait a little bit?
That's fair. Maybe I'll.
It's actually not even a fresh get. I'll talk about it when my time has come. But
okay. I'll just do mine real quick. I'll do one. Whatever. I got this nice second print of Absolute Batman #1. That is a dope cover. I don't care what anybody says. I love it. That's
Virgin.
Got that right. Not till I'm married. Moving on. Who do we have? Raising Elm Comics brings the A game each and every week, even though he is not eligible. Look at this. Howdy, comic fam. Halloween this year was awesome. We did trick-or-treating at the office where I handed out tiny horror movie posters. I happened upon a Michael Jackson thriller flash mob, and our family wrapped up the day with games and goodies dressed up as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was a blast. I also went to by my local comic shop today and found a complete 4-issue unopened polybag set of Dead by Daylight comics for like $20. These comics are based on a successful multiplayer video game that pits a group of survivors against iconic killers such as Freddy, Jigsaw, Dracula, Michael Myers, Chucky, Ghostface, and more. A few of my friends from the office got me into playing this game with them, and it's so much fun. Additionally, each individual issue of the comic series comes with an exclusive code that can be redeemed for an in-game charm/perk. And because all 4 issues were polybagged, the codes are still good. Such a cool find. I hope y'all's Halloween was just as spectacular. Much love, Comic Fam. Always brings it. He always brings it. I'm going to show my second fresh get of the week because I can. These are obviously all newer books. Sorry, I'm not even prepared. Where is it? What is it? Oh, actually, I only have 2. Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. I haven't read this book yet. Absolute Batman was great. Really enjoyed it. But looking forward to this as well. Joseph, no, not Joseph. We're going to get to the next one right here, which is Union Josh Comics. Where are you, Union Josh? There we go. In my book experience outranks everything. Captain Rex here. We are again for Fresh from the Comic Shop, and what a beauty I've got for you today. Star Wars issue number 4, released in 1977, with story by Roy Thomas and art by Keith Pollard. The Death of Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the most striking covers I've seen. One of the most striking covers I've seen in the original Star Wars run. Vader's so menacing coming out of the abyss like that. Grabbed this book at London Comic-Con last weekend in great condition, especially on a black cover, and for a reasonable price. I'm glad to have this in the collection. You don't see too many of these, and yes, that is the Lego Dark Millennium Falcon behind the book. Well done there, Union Josh. All right, Joseph, let's give us your only fresh get of the week before we get into our last submission.
This isn't a fresh get. I hate to do this, and I don't normally do this, but this is, I think, the first time since I've been on the show that I actually did not buy a single comic this week.
Whoa.
I was so bogged down with work and also sick. 0 collections, didn't make it to my comic store. I went to Philly Comic-Con today, and I picked up a couple dollar bin books, and honestly, they're still packed away. So I wasn't even going to show them because they're dollar bin books. But in cleaning up, organizing, I stumbled upon some old collection stuff, and this was in there. And this is really cool. And I don't think I've ever shown this off on social media or on the show. So I figured let's bring it to the show, and a perfect time of the year to be showing this off as well. This is Toxic Horror Magazine, which is a special kind of like horror movie issue. Freddy, Jason, Michael, kind of comparing the legends of horror movies to the current day. And if you look down the bottom here, it's actually signed by George Wilbur, who is one of the actors that played Michael Myers. And we actually, probably about a year ago, we had an actor who played Michael Myers on the show in Tyler Mane, who has gone on to reprise his role as Sabretooth since then. So I thought that was really cool. That might be a keeper for me. I haven't decided yet.
Come on, you gotta keep that. That's so you.
I'm not a big magazine guy though. As much as I love, horror and stuff, I don't really collect magazines. So it's going to be a decision that I'm going to have to make. It's interesting,
but that would fall under unique. I think that would be applicable for, excuse me, unique. The judge is informing us that he has one to show off as well. So let's get that in super quick. Hello, Judge.
Oh, didn't expect you to bring me up here. So,
of course, you're the judge.
Of course, you're the judge. All right, here we go. I got a couple of them.
You have to be in your good graces.
I'll just throw this one out here, and I fall in love with the Captain Marvel Fawcett comics from back in the day, and this is one of them I picked up recently. This is Captain Marvel number 50. And this is from 1946, I believe. And what the significance of this is that Billy Batson and Captain Marvel switch powers. So Billy has all the powers, and Captain Marvel is just an average guy. And so it's a weird kind of it's kind of along the lines of the Absolute series, where they're thinking outside the box. So anyway, just a cool pickup. So you can find these, surprisingly, with these Golden Age, they're really, if you look for them, they're not that expensive for decent copies here. So again, that's just one of many copies. I have more to show, but we'll hopefully wait for another.
That looks like a
episode,
pretty
but
sharp copy too.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
not bad. It's not bad. There's a little
Ooh.
problem up here.
Wait a second. Look down at the bottom right-hand corner. Is that a War Bond stamp?
This thing here, I believe it is.
Yeah. So that was, you said 46. Wouldn't that be 45? If it still has those?
Shoot, I haven't looked. I opened it. I got it just a few weeks ago. I didn't look this up in detail. But if that doesn't mean they wouldn't still be selling war
I
bonds.
guess they still did War Bonds after the war.
Yeah, because they were in a lot of debt at the time, so they made a lot of money afterwards. But I'll do some research and get back to you. But these are super cool to have.
That's a really cool.
Dan,
yeah.
I should let you know, Dan, that I picked up a couple, 2 different collections recently that had a lot of Fawcett Captain Marvel. So
Why do you tease me like this? Why do you?
Sorry.
It's so awful.
It's
to me,
literally
really
his
are.
job.
No, by the way, shout out to Joe on his whatnots. I bought a number of books from him. He's a great guy to deal with, reasonable prices, and again, fast service. So Joe, thank you very, very much, and thanks for the tease. This is why I have no money.
I can't. Yeah, we'll have you come back in literally a few minutes. But I got to give Joe props too, and I cannot stand complimenting you.
Stop it.
But you're a stand-up dude who does a great service for the community. It's not only a hustle for you, but it's something you enjoy doing, getting that book in people's hands that are looking for it. And that's the last thing I'll say nice about you today. And finally, we have Nukes Comics. Fresh from the comic shop, Amazing Spider-Man number 76. This is the Joe Jusko painted cover. You may remember Jusko painted the Marvel Masterpiece trading cards in the 90s. Fun fact, Jusko was a New York Police Department police officer. I picked this up from DBS. Good stuff indeed. I had no idea that Jusko was NYPD. Wow. That's fascinating. All right. So here's the deal. We have not many submissions, which is very strange. Sometimes we have a ton. Sometimes we don't.
2 eligible.
2 eligible ones. And I'm going to bring these up. We got Caleb Leland and Union Josh. Caleb Leland and Union Josh. I know who I would choose.
Me too.
Let's bring
Both
the
great
judge in
books.
right now, just so he thinks it's fair. What were you saying? But Josh, you had a caveat here. But
No, there wasn't I'm also not Josh. I'm Joe.
Jesus, what is my problem?
No, I'm not Jesus either. Both great books. But one of them stands out as checking our criteria more so than the other one. And that is the more unique book, the book that has more of a story about it. How Caleb used to watch the show with his mom, all that stuff, and certainly Star Wars is great. Don't get me wrong, and very cool issue, very cool cover, and a significant book. But I see Star Wars stuff all the time. Don't see Dark Shadows too often. I'm going with Caleb Leland for mine.
I am going with Caleb Leland as well for all the reasons you said. No, it's unique, but it's also it pulled at our heartstring with the kind of the memories he has with his mom watching the show. So Caleb Leland, Judge, this is the one right here. Do you approve? Will he move on to the semifinals?
We share the same background because my mother loved Dark Shadows back in the day. That was, and I posted in the chat, that was the #1 soap opera for a number of years. It was a brilliantly written
I had
show.
no idea.
Oh yeah, it was top when soap operas were prominent back in the 60s.
But you have to be impartial, Judge. You have to be impartial. And honestly, right now you're towing the line.
You question my impartiality. We didn't even open the court system. Hear ye, court is now in session. Dan De La Torre now presiding. Okay, yes, now that's all done. I think we're all in. Now I'm having the yips. I can't speak. What happened? What did you do? What did you give me, Johnny? Jeff, I can't. Who's who now?
Caleb Leland.
This is getting worse. All right. No, this is over. That's a great submission here. So Dark Shadows win. Case dismissed.
Caleb Leland, you are moving on to the first semifinals of November. You'll be going up against somebody next week. Again, I need to apologize for not bringing up the voting for the October books. We'll do the second semifinals, followed by the finals to give away this amazing October book, Thor, the Immortal Thor #1, the Missed Minutes variant. Y'all need to be submitting more because I don't know what happens every couple episodes. It's just, I don't know. It makes it easy for other people to win. So just letting you know. Let's bring back our news editor, Joshua. Joshua, let's have you give a sign off for the show right now. You start it off. You kick it off. Go ahead.
I just want to say it's, another great show. Finally, glad to have Jeff back, and
Thank
things are going smoothly. No technical problems.
Thank you. Right. I saw that.
Glad to see everybody's doing well, and I'm just very thankful for you guys, my co-hosts, for a wonderful judge, and of course, our 24 million people currently watching right now. Number might have dropped down to maybe 21 million, but he's really counting.
Yeah.
And just love you guys. And hey, October went by fast. I'm assuming November is probably going to move pretty quick. And before you know it, we'll be in the new year. But keep submitting to Fresh from the Comic Book Shop. Keep that up, guys. And like, subscribe, and let people know about this wonderful channel.
Yes, Mr. or Judge De La Torre, please.
Just a quick word, Goodness Looker, we got your giveaway out the door in the mail. You should get it later this week. For the giveaways from 2 weeks ago, we're going to get that out as soon as possible. The boys have been busy, obviously, but we will get our act together, and you'll have those submissions out or those giveaways out ASAP.
Yeah, speaking of that, I wanted to say something at the top of the show. It's been really hectic for Joe and I. We need to organize everything from our 200th episode, all of the giveaways. We will do that this week and hopefully start shipping things out by end of week. No promises again, because we're still trying to settle down and juggle everything in our lives. So please be patient with us, but we took notes. Remember, I took notes. I've never had a notebook for the canon. And we have all of the people who have won there. So we will get to it as soon as we can. Joe, final words for the evening.
Yeah. For those of you who were following along, the voting for the Comic Book Community Awards went through. I just want to shout out everyone that whoever nominated us and all the people that voted for us. That was awesome. We did not win. A very worthy channel did win the category, Legion of Comics. If you don't follow them on Instagram and YouTube, check them out. They do live shows. They do charity events. Awesome guy. So yeah, Legion of Comics, congrats to them and all the other winners except for Sticky Goose. No congrats to that guy.
What's up with that?
That being said, today was one of those days that was a comic books all day, which it's a lot for me. A lot of days like that for me. I will say one thing, being at the show earlier today, and Josh can attest for this because he was there. It was a packed house. It was a line all the way down the hallway before the show opened at 10 a.m. I think that extra hour of sleep that we got from daylight savings time.
Ooh, that's right.
Plus the fact that the Birds didn't play until 4 had people coming out early. I think it was a combination of that. And also anyone that didn't make it to New York Comic Con 2 weeks ago was feeling a little FOMO and wanted to go out to a comic show. So huge turnout today. Felt like an awesome community event. I got high hopes. I got high hopes for, the continuation of this comic book community today. Definitely was a sign of that. And of course, this show here, all of you coming to hang out. Thank you all. Thank you all for voting. Thank you all for watching, commenting, submitting to Fresh from the Comic Shop, all that stuff. That's it.
It's just an honor to be nominated. Come on. I mean, what you guys don't know is these three gentlemen here, these are great people, and they do a lot of work behind the scenes to put the show together. So it is a huge honor to be even included in that nomination. So it's a labor of love for all of us.
Yeah, Jeff, you're being called out, man. You need to come to the next PhillyCon. I know you've talked about doing it a couple times. Brian says you need to come down. January 19th is the next one.
Okay, I'll go to PhillyCon if you guys show up to San Diego Comic-Con, because I'll be there next year.
I might end up at San Diego.
Or take the private Canon jet out there. I'm sure HR could could swing
HR has
that.
nothing to do with the jet. They don't fuel it up. They don't approve who goes or who doesn't. They take care of the people that are acting inappropriately on that jet, and it's happened before. Getting locked in the bathroom, throwing up on coworkers. It's disgusting. So,
Sleeping with coworkers' spouses, like.
anyways, moving on. We'll be back next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific, every Sunday night. Until then, everybody, be good to yourself, be good to others. Peace.